I said one, and then I was like, no, I didn't press the button. Let's try
That's
again.
right.
All right. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Yes, we were talking before I start seeing you guys are here. Thank you all for joining. Hello, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. We are talking about home ownership tonight. I'm super excited. This is the year that we become homeowners. If you are not a homeowner, and if you are, maybe this is the year you become a homeowner twice, three times, buy another house. Time to invest. So we're talking about home ownership, and we're really going to answer your questions tonight and get into the nuts and bolts, if you will, of making that first major transaction. We are not just doing presentations, so we are going to present some things to you to hopefully answer some of the questions we've already received. So thank you for joining. I want to introduce to you this beautiful young lady to my left or right. I don't know, depending on where you're looking at. Keisha. Nakisha Anderson, sorry, professional. This is, she has a diverse background in financing and banking and video gaming. She is an entrepreneur in all aspects. She is now a thriving realtor in the Atlanta area. Woohoo! She is a member of Atlanta Realtors Association and has a passion for educating buyers, sellers, and anyone else who's interested in knowing more about houses. Okay, some people don't want houses. Some people want townhouses. Some people want condos. Some people want to just be a renter, and how you can still benefit in making money, even though you don't have to live there. You could probably buy a house and rent it out to some other people. Okay. She creates valuable content and simplifying the real estate process by helping and educating clients to make informed decisions. Whether you are looking to buy, sell, or relocate to Georgia, Nakisha Anderson is the person to help you get that done. All right. I'm going
Yeah.
to get
Thanks.
sound effects eventually, but anyways, so you can connect with her on Facebook, Nakisha Anderson. I believe that's correct. Yes.
Yes.
All right. And then on Instagram at Nakisha Anderson underscore. All right. So, Keisha, how are
Hey.
you today?
I'm fine. I'm great. I'm excited.
Yes, I know you've been doing a lot in the area. You just recently had a seminar here in the Atlanta area about home ownership, and I stole some of your slides. Okay, so
All right.
you have some of those. Do you want to get into that real quick before we get into?
Yeah, we can.
All
Definitely.
right, let me add this so you can see. There you go.
All right.
All right, and I'll be your presentation person, so you tell
Well, I
me.
appreciate that, Alicia.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so there's your beautiful face. I'll let you take over. Go ahead.
All right. Well, as you can see, once again, I'm Nikisha. So basically, I'm just going to give you just a few steps where you can start the home ownership process. It won't be the full thing because we don't have time to do that, but I do want to let anyone and everyone know that you can also, when you do the consultation with me, we'll definitely go in depth into all of the steps. So what I'm going to show today is just a few things that, you want to be aware of. So of course, if you have questions, you can ask questions now, or definitely if you want to reach out to me, we can go over, any other questions you may have. All right. So the first step into buying a home is you definitely want to meet with a realtor such as myself. And now during this meeting, we will discuss what type of home you're looking for, the price, and the location. All right. And then the next step, which is a very important step, is the pre-approval step. You definitely want to get pre-approved. And now this basically what this does is it brings you, your lender, and the potential home seller confidence in knowing what you can afford, which does make the offer more likely to be accepted over someone who has not been pre-approved. All right. And then after that, it's time to start searching for homes. So during this process, I'll suggest homes that fit your needs based on what we've discussed. And then I'll meet you at these homes so you can tour them to see which ones you like. Now, I do like to let people know that the average buyer does find the right home within the first 5 homes that they view.
Is that the first five homes they view with you, or is that just an average overall?
Just an average overall.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. And now I'm just going to go into the benefits of home ownership. Now, there are more benefits, but these are just some of them. And the first one is equity. When Jennifer comes on, she's going to get more in detail about this because there are quite a few incentives that are going on with equity. So, just in case you don't know, equity is the difference between what you owe on your mortgage and what your home is worth. So, for example, let's just say you owe $200,000 on your home, and if your home is worth $300,000, that's $100,000 of equity that you built up. So, you can pull that out for any home improvements. If you want to start a business, anything that you can think of, you can use equity to help purchase that or do those things. All right. The next one would be establishing roots. People who own rather than rent typically stay in their homes 4 times longer. And then the last thing is tax savings. So the interest that you pay on your mortgage and other home related expenses can generally be deducted from your income. So that's always a good tip to remember. All right. And then we come to escrow. I wanted to talk about this because this is something that I had no idea about when I purchased my home. I want to say about 4 or 5 years within having a home, I remember receiving a check. And they said, "Oh, it was because your escrow balance was more than what you had." And I was like, "Yes, I didn't even know anything about this." So, needless to say, I'm being a homeowner for 4 or 5 years and had no idea what escrow was. So, I definitely like to tell people about escrow before they purchase. So, basically, escrow is an account that is being managed by a third party, which is normally your lender. And these funds are held to cover any specific home related expenses, such as your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, and your private mortgage insurance. Okay. And now the escrow funds, they ensure that you are paying these expenses on time. So that's like one, these are less things that you have to worry about paying, like you don't want to forget to pay these things. And then, next thing you know, you have all these bills, that become overdue or whatnot. So you definitely want to make sure that you do have that escrow account. So that's something that you do. It's automatically being paid when you're paying your mortgage payments. And this definitely protects the lender and it protects you as the homeowner.
Okay, I have a question here.
Okay.
This is a perfect spot for it. Sorry to interrupt your presentation.
No, you're fine. That's fine. Mhm.
Because as I always say, this is a conversation, not a presentation. So,
Yes, yes. Mhm.
um, just to elaborate more on the escrow. So, you said that you received the check. What was your check for? Why did you receive a check from?
So basically, because each month making those monthly payments, they were putting that money into the escrow account. So at that time, I think the my property insurance had went down.
Okay.
So because of that, when the next year came around, it was like, okay, I had already paid that amount. Well, they had already paid that amount. So the difference was basically them sending me the leftover funds. So I was
Oh, so
able
you
to
got
just deposit
a
that.
surprise, surprise pennies.
I did. Yes.
It's always fun to get checks in the mail,
It's
especially ones
very,
you
very fun.
weren't
Yeah.
even expecting. You're like, okay.
Yes.
So that doesn't always happen, but it can
No,
happen. So that's
it
one of
can
the
happen.
benefits happen
Yes.
to
Hmm.
escrow. But escrow basically helps you not be late or miss any bills or forget them. It's like an auto pay almost.
Right. Definitely.
All right, all right. Well, that was one of the questions was how important escrow is. So I think that that answers that question. So hopefully the person is listening on how important that escrow is and the benefits that you can use escrow in.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Was that did you want to say something else? I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was pretty much it.
All right, there we go. Keisha has shared her part. I wanted to go back here with equity.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this slide down because I feel like we can't see you.
Oh yeah, that's
So
fine.
I had to go back to remember myself, but
That's all right.
one of the questions was, what can you do with equity in your home? And I know we're going to have Jennifer come in because she's a lender and in the
Yeah.
financial side of home ownership. But if you could kind of share with us from a realtor standpoint, like what do you tell, um, excuse me, fixing my pillow. What do you tell homeowners, and especially first time homeowners, the benefits of equity and what that is,
Right.
what you can do with equity?
Okay, yeah. So as I stated before, it's no, most people they'll pull it out to do home improvements, right? So it's basically a line of credit. They call it a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit. So when you pull that out, you're basically taking out a line of credit, which 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a little bit less in interest. Don't quote me on that, but it'll be, you won't pay as much interest as you would if you're, if you have a credit card or something like that, or another taking out a different loan from somewhere else. That's why
Mhm.
I was saying Jennifer, she's going to talk more about, the basics as far as like what the incentives will be and then what the interest rate will be. But most of the time, from working with people, because I also
Right.
have that banking background. I know people would do it in banking.
Right,
Most of
exactly.
the time, that interest rate is definitely going to be lower than actually going somewhere else to try to get a loan for, let's say, your business that you want to start or home improvement that you want to do. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. Hi,
Mhm.
husband.
Excellent.
Yeah, I saw you two sharing on Instagram. Do you, so with the home with equity, they can use that for home improvements. Can you use it for anything, or is it just for home related?
You can do it for anything. You can start your business with that. You can take a vacation with that if you want. That's up to you what you want to do it with. Yeah.
Okay, and then when you do the HELOC, when you were saying they go through the bank, how is that? How does that come about? Like if you have equity in your home and you see it on your uh, where? Why is my mind going blank? What is the word when you
That
see?
is okay.
I
Are you
don't know.
saying like
You're
the
looking at
payments or
your
something?
mortgage and stuff, and it tells you how much equity is on it. It's something. But anyways, if you're looking at that,
Yes.
and it tells you how much equity you have, how do you go about saying, okay, I want to use that or
You
to
can
pull?
actually, as far as now, I don't know if they've changed it. This is, like I said, this is some years ago. But as far as I know, basically, you can just go inside the bank. Because, like I said, it's a line of credit. So you can go inside the bank and pull it out. You can pull out the full amount if you want. You can pull out some of it. It's up to you how you want to do it.
So whoever
But those are
you
the
have
options.
your lending through is how you can pull it out.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Cool. See there, you guys. You can start. Y'all trying to figure out how to start your business, and you living in it. Okay.
There you go. Because you're in your investment, living in your investment, as Alicia just said.
Right. You're living in your bed. You're like, I'm looking for some extra money, and it's literally
It's right
in your
there.
home.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the benefits of buying a house? And I know right now we're in a, I don't know, you hear different things. I don't even like to confess some of the things that are being said.
Me either. I already know what you're
So,
going to
I will
say.
just
But
say
yeah.
that why is it a good time? What is the benefits of buying a home right now?
Well, I start off with happiness for one, and then because you can do what you want to do in your own home as opposed to
Yes.
renting. You can. It may sound silly. You can get as many dogs as you want. You can cut your tree down. You can paint your rooms the way you want to
You
paint them
run
in your house. I
upstairs.
know, right? When I look at houses, and I know when we go to one of my favorite spots, Cava, that's in Peachtree City,
Yeah.
beautiful homes in there, but two of the homes, someone painted their home green, someone painted their home black. To each his own. However, my point is their home, their investment. They can do what they want to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So those are a few things, and then appreciation. Over time, that home is gonna double in value, or whatever, depending on what dealing with inflation or different things like that. It's gonna appreciate over time. So that's a
Mhm.
good thing as well. And then I mentioned tax havens. Um, the
I know
money you can pull
there's,
out and
I
choose.
know people have benefited like um, from buying a house. There's so many. It's an asset, right? And so it's like so many people have benefited not just for themselves, but for their children's children and stuff. So, what do you think is what's the benefit of keeping a house? Like I said, I should say, like
You
after, yeah. What's the benefit
said
of
that one
keeping?
more time. Oh, keeping the house?
Hmm.
I mean, well, there again, like I said, the main for me, and I know I keep talking about it, is the equity. Because the longer you stay in your house, it's going to appreciate, and the more value, it's going to the value of the house. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's one of the most. That's the biggest investment you're going to make in your life.
And
So,
I found a statistic that was saying
mm,
most of the wealth, like the most of the wealth that Americans have is in real estate. That makes them wealthy is some type of investment in real estate. So buying a home, buying some form of property and being a owner in
hmm
that aspect will get you further in life. Because I ask that because so many people are like, don't sell grandma's house, but they never say why, or they end up tearing up grandma's house. So, what is the, you know what I mean? Grandma's neighborhood has changed. It's not. what it was, it may have not be the same beneficial. Like, why should you keep that house?
Right. And I get some people, sentimental value. So I can understand why some people is like, don't. This is
Right.
grandma's house. We don't want to sell it. But then at the same time, other than that sentimental value, it's just like you're establishing those roots. There was a study, or basically they're saying like children, and I don't want to quote it wrong, but
Mhm.
education wise, they say that people who, the children that grow up in a home, as far as like test scores and different things like that, they're higher on the level, basically, if that makes sense. I may be quoting it wrong,
Right,
but
right,
just
right, right.
by
I
having
get
that
it.
home, it's like this is you're establishing those roots for your children to grow in. Does that
Yeah,
make
they
sense?
feel like they have more of
It's like,
a I get being an educator, I know that. I can
yeah,
attest to
yeah,
those statistics because they have more of a security. And so it's
yeah,
like they have
yeah.
a foundation that this is my home and I've been in it. And we all know we've had different backgrounds. I've had different backgrounds where we moved a lot and
Hmm.
feel like you can't really connect, or these people ain't gonna be your friends for like 2 years because
Right.
you're not gonna be around. And you
Very
know,
true.
you live in this apartment, you may live in the same neighborhood, but now you done moved to the other side of the apartment, and it's like, well, that's way in the back. We only play with the kids in the front.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
small, but it does make an impact. And if children feel like they don't have that security or someplace like a foundation or home, it does impact other things in their life
It
and building
does.
relationships in schools because they've been to three different ones. So
Hmm.
some people will stay in a home just so they're, or even move to a neighborhood just so their kids can go to a certain school, you know what I mean,
Right.
and receive a certain education. And they'll be like, okay, well, our kids have graduated, now we're moving. So it all depends. It is benefits not just to you, but to your children. So
Hmm.
when you say roots, to me, I'm thinking generations. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I'm thinking like generational blessings being passed
It
down
is.
automatically to your children. And then also, it's kind of like when um, this is a totally different topic, but I want to relate it to this, like
That's
with
okay.
life
Mhm.
insurance.
Yeah.
Like everyone's all like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I think I'll get it. I might get it. I'll get it for a little
Hmm.
while because no one's gonna die, right? I don't know where
Right.
y'all are going, but we're gonna live forever, and no one's gonna die." But then when something drastic happens, then we're all like, "Okay, now what was that equity I had in the home?"
Exactly.
We're using it.
Right. Right. That's
We're
true.
using
That's
it,
true.
unfortunately, for a sad situation because we can't come up with the funeral money. So it's just like so many other things that you can do to
Hmm.
protect that equity and make sure it's beneficial for you and not like, oh man, I had to use
Right.
it for this or I
Exactly.
use it for that. But you used it for something that's either towards that house or
Hmm.
to make another investment where it's to your children. I know
Like
people who,
college or something. Yeah.
right, exactly.
Hmm.
People
Yeah.
did the college funds, and then also people have said, I don't have much of an like inheritance for their children, but they have left
Look
like
at that.
a home, like not even the whole home, but just saying out of their equity, they use that to do a down payment for their child.
For
So they
another.
let
Yep.
their child buy a property and like, this is all I can do
Right.
for you. But they were
Yeah.
able to say, I have $20,000 because
Exactly.
they had it in their home. So it's so many benefits that I want people to
It
make
is.
sure they realize are there and not just
Right.
think,
And even if it's
oh,
investments as well, I just thought about that. I don't want to forget that. Even if you want to start investing other
yeah.
properties, different things like that. So yeah.
Hey, Shabazz.
Hey, is that Tisha? I think
Yeah.
that's Tisha. I saw the Shabazz.
Yeah, I feel like I love that name. So I want to say Shabazz. So I said it on recording. Jennifer is with us. I want to see if we can hear you. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, how are you guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, you
Yes.
sound
Okay.
amazing. I'm so glad you got here, landed safely and made it.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. I literally just got off the plane and instead of going to customs, I found a place to sit down and plug up because everything was out of batteries. So I
Right.
am on the phone. I'm so sorry for my lateness.
No,
Jennifer
it's
is.
totally fine. Everyone, this is Jennifer Sampson, the one and only. We've talked you up already, and
Okay.
we've warmed the mic, as they say. and we are excited about you being on here tonight. I'll just tell the people a little bit about you before we let you answer some of these questions and get into sharing more about yourself. Okay.
Okay.
Jennifer Sampson is awesome. Okay. She's been helping people get them loans since the 90s, the late 90s. I don't want to date her. And she's an Atlanta native. Okay. She's a board member of Empire Board, National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. And most importantly, she wants to help you not only get your dream home, to live in your dream home, to pass it down and help your children's children get homes. And she's been not only just helping people, but also educating others. And that's why we have her on here tonight, through various nonprofits in the Atlanta area. And we have the privilege of her being on Sisters Let's Connect tonight. And we're excited that she took out this time. As she just stated, she flew in from out of the country and came and made it and still made it happen. So we truly appreciate her and we want to honor her time. Make sure she gets home safely tonight. So that's my bio for you, Jennifer. You, is that okay? I think she went back on mute.
Um,
It's okay. Well, she as we wait for her to unmute herself, I'm sure she heard it. Yeah, we're going to get into her at answering some of those more questions. I think what people are waiting for is help me with the
Spending
money.
part.
Yeah,
Hmm.
help me with the money. Show me where the money is and how can I get the money.
Can you
So
guys hear me?
yes.
Okay. Okay. I went out for a second. I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
Uh,
It tells us when you went out. So I was like, I'll wait till I see that thing that she's back.
okay. Okay. Just let me know. And so I can hear the questions. I may mute occasionally because people are walking by.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's fine.
and hopefully my connection stays strong. So just let me
Okay.
know if I go out for any reason.
Sounds good. Well, I just did an intro for you that you weren't able to hear, but you'll listen to the replay on that. Keisha and I was just talking about the benefits of home ownership, and we were talking about the equity. But before we get into all of that, we wanted you to kind of answer the questions in regards to what people need to know as first-time home buyers. Like, what do you think they need to prepare for on the financial side before they even call Keisha to show them a house?
So, the biggest thing is that it's important that everyone get qualified before they actually go out and look for a home. So, I always tell my clients that knowing what you qualify for gives you power and clarity. So, what that does is allows you to search confidently within your budget and then identify the right programs you're eligible for, including down payment assistance. And it helps you to, avoid surprises during the process. This also will allow me, as your advisor, to tailor options specifically to your goals, income, and long term financial plans because a lot of people are coming off of renting and they want their mortgage to be a certain number. So 350,000, 400,000 sounds like a great sales price, but when you actually look at what that's going to be monthly, because keep in mind, unless you're putting 20% down, that's going to include your taxes and insurance as well. So all of that is going to be a part of your monthly payment. So you want to make sure that you have the exact sales price that's going to put you so that is going to put you in the price point that you want to be for your monthly mortgage payment.
Right.
So that would be my biggest reason why you should, go ahead and know your financing up front.
Right. And then, so that kind of ties in with them knowing about the debt to income ratio. I know that was a question for some of my friends and ourselves when we bought our home. Like, no one really talked about that. And then it was like, fun fact, you need to probably pay that credit card off real quick. So how is that calculated, and then why is that important for people to know? Feel like I hear her. Can you still hear us, Jennifer? I guess she'll hop back on when she. We can hear you, Jennifer. I don't think she can hear us because I hear it. You hear it, Keisha?
I hear something here.
Yeah. I was like, it sounds like foot.
Okay, I think I got. Can you guys hear me?
We could hear you though. We heard you. It sounded like you were walking or something,
I
but
went out again for a second. I'm so
yeah, we could
sorry.
hear you though, but you couldn't hear us. So, Keisha, do you know anything about that part at all? The debt to income ratio? I know a little
Can
bit
you
about
guys hear
it.
me
Okay.
again? I'm
Yeah,
so sorry. Oh gosh. Let me
you
walk
can text
around.
her and tell her we
See if
can
I
hear
can
her,
get a
Keisha.
better connection.
I think she thinks that we can't hear her, but we can't.
Uh, oh, okay. So I think we were talking about debt to income ratio.
Yes,
Okay. So this is a little awkward. Can I go in and start talking about it?
yes, yes.
I can't really hear you guys.
I'm texting
Oh,
her.
there
Okay,
we go.
perfect.
I think I got you again. Sorry, I am still, this is terrible. Um, so just to kind of give you guys a quick overview of what the debt to income ratio is. So the formula for the debt to income ratio is total monthly debts plus, I'm sorry, divided by gross monthly income times 100. So so it's important because we calculate your DTI by taking that monthly income, debt payment, like your car loans, student loans, credit cards, et cetera, and dividing that by your gross monthly income. So the reason that that is important because lenders typically want to see a debt to income ratio below 50%, and usually the minimum is 43% that they're looking at. And through some programs may allow a higher DTI depending on credit reserves and compensating factors. A strong DTI not only helps with approval, it may also qualify you for better terms and a more affordable payment, depending on how much, um, your debt is or how much you want to qualify for. Are you guys still able to hear me?
Yes,
Okay, okay, awesome. Okay. Um, so the first thing, so your debt to income is one of the first things we look at outside of credit when we're determining your loan eligibility. It'll tell me how much your income is already committed to debts and what's left for a mortgage payment. So when you understand your DTI, you're better equipped to make decisions about paying off debt, increasing income, or just adjusting your home buying budget. So that helps, tremendously when it comes to financial wellness and being actually ready to purchase. And again, knowing what your purchasing power is.
right. Awesome. And right now, is there any I'm gonna, we're gonna ask for like some information so people can get in touch with you, Jennifer. But are there
Yes.
any like current grants or something that people can research? Because not everyone is in Atlanta that's watching this. So
Okay.
just what are some things that people can kind of look into with down payment assistance or any other financial help in regards to their house if they want to refinance or if they're first time home buyers?
Okay. So, as far as down payment assistance, there's a website that you can go to. So for Atlanta, I would be a local expert on that. So
Mhm.
we offer in-house down payment assistance at Pinnacle, which is 4.5% of the sales price or the appraised value, depending on whichever is lower. Because a lot of times the house may not appraise for what it's selling for. So we will use the appraised value in that instance. A couple of other programs that are out there. I also work with Federal Home Loan Bank,
Mhm.
which their assistance just went up by 5,000 this year. So they offer 17,500 to first time home buyers. And then if you're a community partner, meaning, if you're in law enforcement, medical field, education, EMT, things
Okay.
like that, you can get up to 20,000. Actually, you can get 20,000. And if you're a veteran, you can get 20,000 as well.
Okay.
Um, Also, Atlanta Housing Authority is a good program, and they offer 25,000. So those are a few programs in the local market in Atlanta. But then if you are in markets across the country and not necessarily in Atlanta, what you could do is go to a website. I'll give it to you. It's F as in Frank, IEC as in Charlie.com. If you go to that site, so it's FFIEC.com. If you go
Mhm.
to that site and type in, say you found a property, you have an address and that physical property you actually are interested in. Thank you. If you go to that website, type in the property address, it will actually, you have to click through it, but it'll actually take you to different down payment assistance programs that may be available in that area.
Okay. Awesome.
So, okay. So that would help as well with the down payment assistance. And the thing is, with down payment assistance, a lot of those programs do have income limits that you have to meet. You cannot make over a certain amount.
Mhm.
So for our in-house assistance, the amount is 80% below the area medium income, which means that say if for example, in Fulton County, I don't know if everyone's familiar with that, but that's a county in Georgia. The area medium income at 100% is like 102,900, but 80% of that is what down payment assistance will allow your income to max out at, which would be about 84,000 roughly.
Okay.
So it just and the website that I gave will tell you that it'll give you that number as well, because they're pretty familiar with that being, the norm for most areas.
Right.
So it just depends on where you're looking and what area you're in. So Federal Home Loan Bank is a little different than, say, our in-house assistance, which a lot of down payment assistance companies adhere to as well. Their income threshold, I'm sorry, income limit is actually tiered, meaning that it goes up depending on how many people are in the household. So, for instance, if there is one person in the household, the median income is going to be about 60,000
Mhm.
and 900, right? But if you have four people in the house, it goes up to 116,000. And they look at the income of everyone in the household. We only look at the income of the borrower for our in-house assistance. But a lot
Oh.
of programs do take into account all of the people that are in the household. So it's only people that are 18 and older. So if you have a college student who lives in the home as well, they're 18, and say they work a part-time job, that income will be looked at also. And then you have other programs that will look at that as well. Atlanta Housing Authority is another. And then when you go to the website, be sure to call, because a lot of those programs require the income for everyone in the household. So
No.
that's just kind of a overview of what down payment assistance is. When you
Mhm.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but your lender or myself, whoever you decide to work with, can tell you exactly what that looks like. When you're working with a lender, that's why you want to go ahead and work with a lender, because they can give you all of that information up front, as opposed to you trying to figure it out and go, call all these agencies, because a lot of times, they may be out of funds or whatever is going on, and your lender is going to know that information based on the programs that they offer.
Right. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you giving way more than what I asked, and so it's you have a wealth of knowledge, Jennifer, and I appreciate you for I appreciate you sharing that. I put your information up here for people to get in touch with you directly. If they have questions, especially those who are thinking about and making that serious decision to become a homeowner. And one of the questions we had before you came on, Jennifer, that we asked Keisha, but we wanted to elaborate a little bit on your perspective as a lender. Why is a good time now to buy a home?
So there are a few different reasons right now. So because the rates have been so up and down over the past few years, they're starting to kind of stabilize a little bit, and uh, the rates have been going down over this summer. I'm sorry, the spring. We haven't hit summer yet.
Right.
The other reason, I would say that it's a good reason to buy a home is because it gives you the benefit of stability, where you have control over your space, no unexpected rent increases. And I don't know about some of your listeners, but I've been hearing that rent has been going up so
Yeah.
much. Like, I have one client, her rent when she moved into she's been there for like 3 years. It started out at 950, and she's up to 1800 now. So she's ready. She's like, if I'm going to pay that much, I might as well buy a home. When you own your home, typically you're going to have a fixed rate, especially if you're a first time home buyer. And so you don't have to worry about those increases. The other thing is that it allows you to start building equity once you make your very first payment. And if you get lucky, if the house appraises for more than what you're buying it for, you've got instant equity walking into it as well.
Right.
Another benefit that I think is awesome as a homeowner is that I get tax benefits, like
Yeah.
mortgage interest deductions, and that allows me to reduce my tax liability off of my income when I have to file my taxes every year.
Right.
So those are just a few. I mean, that's just a few things right off the top that I think make a big difference in terms, why it's a good idea to own a home at this point. And, down payment assistance is a bit more readily available right now as well, because it's the beginning of the season. Like, toward the end of the summer, the fall, a lot of down payment assistance companies are going to be out of money, because they only have so much that they can use
Okay.
every year to help home buyers.
Right.
Right. And Jennifer, can you tell them about like the equity part as far as like, any incentives like for them pulling out equity that may be
Yeah,
going on?
absolutely. So, once you built up equity in your home, you can leverage it for things like home renovations, debt consolidation, or even if you have a child that's going to college. Um, so it helps with a lot of those things. You know, in order to be able to do different things that are important, in your life. I mean, that equity is there, and you can, use it because it's an investment. So you can use it for what you need to. We do offer a home equity line of credit, which is a product that allows you to pull the equity out of your home, and we offer an affordable home equity line of credit. And it's designed to help minority communities in the Atlanta area, or wherever we have a market, which it only requires like a 600 credit score if you're already a homeowner. And then the property must be located in a majority minority census tract. And then it has a really good rate in comparison to a traditional HELOC. Typically, with a traditional HELOC, I'm sorry, and a HELOC is a home equity line of credit, you're paying almost a 10% interest rate because a lot of times, since it's a second mortgage, the interest rate tends to be higher. With our in house home equity line, the rate is prime minus up to 3 points. So you could end up with a 4.5% interest rate. But that equity is awesome. I've had to use it. I've had to use equity in my home. I bought my home 2 years ago. I had to put a new roof on the house, and I just didn't have it available to me at the time because I had just purchased the home maybe a year and a half earlier. So I was able to use that product and get a home equity line of credit and put a new roof on my house, plus do some other thing renovations to the home that I needed to do. So, and it was all because I had equity in the house because I didn't have anywhere else to pull that money from. So it was a huge benefit to me having a home and being able to utilize it in that way.
Right. We were talking about that earlier, kind of like it being like a savings or something almost that you could use, for things that come up, such as your roof or major repairs in your home, or if you want to, do something additional to your home versus, you coming up with the money yourself out of
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
own. It's like just you're calculating it automatically almost. And we were one of the people that were blessed, my husband and I, with that kind of deal, like getting our house and then having equity immediately because of the what it was appraised for was higher than what we paid, type of thing. But you have to look around and see what's out there, and then I think, like you said, making sure you know what you qualify before you go looking at the $500,000 homes.
Yeah.
It really
Because they
helps.
look great. They look great until you see what that mortgage payment is.
Right.
Then you're like, okay, maybe not.
You're like, you know what? That two-bedroom down the street did look kind of nice, or the three-bedroom, whatever. So, but I know in the Atlanta area, especially, more people are, buying houses because, like you said, rent is going up. I lived in California for 10 years, and rent here is almost like it was in California. And I was like, now California, you weren't getting as much space probably, but renting, if I'm going to rent, I came here and rented a house, for like a year, um, before I got married, and then we ended up buying a house. But when you're renting, I was like, why rent an apartment for almost $2,000 and I could rent a house for like 1,700? So I think a lot of people are looking into finding a way to actually get their finances in order. So if it's the credit score or finding out how to get assistance with down payments and all of that, because they see that they're throwing away money. I was always taught that renting is like putting money down the toilet, that it's just it's going nowhere. You're not
Right.
able to utilize that. So I appreciate you ladies coming on here tonight and explaining, like, the benefits outweigh that initial step of getting over. Number one is fear. I think most people
Yeah,
are just scared. If you're the first,
it
it's just
is.
like when you're the first person to go to college in your family, like no one else has done that. If no one else has started a business before, you're the first. No one else has bought a home, you're the first. So it is a little bit of fear, but to get over that and take that first step, to just see what you qualify for. Because we had to do that, see what you qualify for. We qualified for more than we thought. And then it's like, okay, we can look at these houses. And then it all happened and it went quickly. And I think we closed within 30 days. So it can be a quick process. I'm just saying all of this to encourage people that no matter where you are, you can start making your steps. It may not be tomorrow that you become a homeowner, but you can make your steps towards getting closer to becoming one. And we've had the wonderful Jennifer Sampson come on here and give us details. I want to put your information up again so people can get in contact
Thank
with
you.
you. And then also, Nikisha Anderson. Once you talk to Jennifer and get your money right, then go to Keisha and find your home.
Yes.
And we will all become homeowners this year. We're starting early. It's springtime. This is a good time. Jennifer
Yeah.
stated the money, get your down systems, you know.
Yes.
Um, and even with being, because my background's in education, and I've worked in different parts and even done contracting with defects and stuff like that. And that helped with me. That allowed me to get a discount on an inspection too. So you
Yep.
never know where your discounts lie with just where you work. Where you work part time. I wasn't even a full time employee, but I still was able to get the discount. So you want to look into all of those things, and sometimes it just comes down to knowing the right person, and it's not always. I'm going to probably mess this quote up. It was a quote I heard someone say, and it was like, relationships can get you in places where money can't, or something like that. So basically, relationships are more valuable. And so having these relationships with individuals and more, knowing people like Nikisha and Jennifer can get you into a home that you probably thought that you didn't even want to look in the neighborhood. You didn't even want to look at the house because you're just like, I don't have that much money saved up, but you never know. You may have the credit score, you may have enough saved to where the seller may be motivated like ours and pay your costs, your closing costs, all those things. So you don't want to limit yourself, is what I'm saying. So hopefully everyone's been encouraged tonight and empowered and educated on what it is they need to do, you need to do individually to become a homeowner, and even become an investor. Because maybe you're like, I didn't do that the first time I bought my house. And now I'm thinking about buying another one and making it a rental property. And now you can find a way to do it without spending so much money. So in closing, if you ladies want to say anything before we go, and then we will wrap it up.
The
I
only thing
would
I can
like
think is,
to,
oh,
before I lose the connection again,
yes, go ahead. It's fine,
I
Jennifer.
would just like to say that it is a very scary process if you're looking to do it for the first time.
Mhm.
Um, a few years ago, I went through a rough period when the market crashed in 2008, and I lost my home. And it was very difficult for me to go through that transition. And it took me a while to get my courage up, or just fear, of having to, what just happened, to do it again. But I will tell you that when you step out on faith, and I do believe, and I'm sure Nakisha and you guys can understand this, that I feel like what we do is God's work, because I really, and I'm committed to helping my community and people get empowered to know that you can buy a home. Like, it is possible to do. And it
Yeah.
took me to, rely on faith to get back out there and do it again. And I just recently, got engaged. I'm living with my fiance, and my house is now,
Congratulations.
thank you. And my home is now an investment property. So I now own an investment property. And that is the beautiful
Yay.
part. Yeah, everything's fine. Okay. I'm sorry. They think I'm crazy standing in the middle of the airport.
Right.
They're like, "Are you okay?" I'm sorry about that. But I became a home. My home is now an investment property, and that's building legacy. So
Yeah.
I have two children. So I now have a property that I can, if something were to happen to me, I could leave something to them. And I cannot tell you how real it is when a parent leaves, whether you're older, your children are older or younger, and you have something to leave them.
Yeah.
That is huge. And it can help them, with starting their life over, or starting their life, or trying to be in a position to be able to do other things, when you're no longer there. So I know that's kind of morbid, but that is the truth of it.
Yeah, it is.
So I think that's important as well. And like I said, right now is a really good time to get into the market because there's lots of money out here. But if you wait till later in the year, that money is going to be gone. So I just want to put that in there just to encourage people to step out on faith, because it's not as bad as you think. It's a really cool process, especially when you're sitting at the closing table.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yes.
Okay, Keisha.
Jennifer pretty much said it all. The only thing I do want to add to that, like she said, it can be a scary process, being a homeowner in the past myself. But my main thing, I just want to let people know: ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask any questions that you need, because you definitely want to understand what you're getting into. So for me, that's pretty much all I have. Ask those questions.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I
guys,
was.
thank you so much for
Yeah,
having me on. I really appreciate that and putting up with my situation here. And am gonna sign off because they keep coming up to me thinking that something
right.
is wrong.
We don't want you to get the rest of the customer.
But this was great. And if anyone has any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. This is a relationship business, so always I give my cell number.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if it's okay to give it now, but it's 678-886-1475.
Okay,
And that is how I communicate with my clients. It's very personal. So
we love it. That's
thank
right.
you.
Okay, you're
Thank
All
you,
welcome.
right.
Jennifer.
Okay. I'm going to sign off because I
All
think
right.
I'm about to get
Thank
in
you.
trouble because I'm in the customs area.
Yeah, I know.
All
Get
right.
out of here.
All right. You guys have a good evening.
You too. Thank
Uh,
you.
all right. Bye bye.
I had that number correct, right, Keisha?
I can check to make sure, but I believe so.
I think it was because she said thank you. So every time that she said thank you, she could see it.
Let's see.
Um, yeah, well, thank you guys for being on there. And like Jennifer said, and I'm glad she pointed it out, is that it takes faith.
Hmm.
And it takes faith to do everything. It takes faith every day to wake up and live in this world that we live in. It takes faith to make every choice that we make. But I want to close us out in prayer and just encourage our sisters, our brothers who drop in and listen, um, everybody that this is hopefully this has helped you find the first steps on home ownership and encourage you to take that journey. And it may take you, it may take you a while. She was talking about the debt to income ratio. Maybe you need to get a few of those paid down. Maybe find some other side hustles to increase your income a little bit. But you do what you have to do to make those sacrifices so you can leave that legacy,
Right.
for yourself. And even if you don't have children, you're leaving a legacy for your name, that people will remember that you were here and that you made an impact on this world. And that's all for you, Keisha.
That's it for me.
Okay, I didn't want to make sure I gave you enough time. We're going, and I'm going to have to call Jennifer, make sure she made it home. Um,
Sound good.
all right, let's pray. God, we thank you and praise you for this night. We thank you for every person that was listening, those who have homes, those who are believing you to become a homeowner, Lord God, not just to say they have a home, but you said that we were going to be lenders and not borrowers. So God, I thank you that home ownership is a way for them to own something and a way for them to leave a legacy for their family. Lord God, we thank you and praise you for Jennifer and Keisha. Bless them, bless their businesses. May they increase and multiply greatly, that people are coming from every which way in the Atlanta area and surrounding areas, and those who are even out of state that are thinking of moving here to Georgia, that they will contact Jennifer and Keisha to get their home, their first home or another home. And we thank you for your favor, your grace, and your mercy. We give you all the praise, glory, and honor in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you again, Keisha, and have an amazing night. Thank you all for
Thank you, and
joining.
thank you all.
All right, stay on. Oh, there we go. Sorry.